Hello YouTube watchers. You might have caught the video that I posted recently of this in real time if you're like me and have a little bit of a shorter attention span sometimes. I made this video here sped up at about 8 times the speed. It did take me about an hour to do the watercolor on this. The initial drawing, maybe a half hour or so. An hour or more of driving to and from the place that I drove. So all in all, a few hours work. Really enjoy doing these small town watercolors. Attempt to explain a little bit of what's going on in the picture. Started off by wetting that sky with just water so that I could run a nice wash that kind of fades from the top down. Use a paper towel there to kind of give some cloud shapes, but not real defined cloud shapes. Keep those kind of loose. The thing that really struck me about this little church that was in Carlton, Texas, was the really bright contrast between the roof, which almost appeared white, and the shadows that were down the sides of the building from the cast shadow. It's late morning whenever I sat there and sketched this out. Sketched it in ink, sitting on the roadside at the moment in the video here, adding the beginnings of some of the cast shadows. I kind of try to work a color at a time and work places that aren't wet next to other ones unless I want them to bleed together. Kind of work in layers. If you notice, I add a little bit of red and blues to the green that's there to break up that green for the grass. That way it doesn't just look like kind of a color book version of grass. Some trees and stuff. Really just kind of scribble with the brush to make my trees. Change the colors a little bit for ones in the background. That way there's a little bit more depth. I'm using a combination of pan watercolors, that's the dry ones that you add water to, as well as tube watercolors that I've squirted a little bit of in some of the little trays that you see. The tube watercolors tend to be a lot more brilliant in color. The pan watercolors a little bit more transparent. These pan watercolors that I have, if I make them real transparent, they seem to almost break up and become chalky. A few layers on the road there, kind of helping make it look like something that's driven on and has movement. Part of these watercolors for me is the experience of the road trip. You know, going out and finding places that I haven't been to, or discovering new things to see. And I really try on these to celebrate both the really small towns here in Texas and the roads themselves. Kind of that idea of adventure, I guess, you get from little day trips or road trips. Trying to highlight in the colors in this here, one of the other things that really struck me is these repeated triangle shapes everywhere. There's triangles above each of the windows, and obviously the roofs are triangle shapes with little triangle peaks, the triangle shaped shadows. Repetition is one of those things that sometimes makes paintings a little bit more interesting. You can notice I build up from light colors to darker colors. Keep adding darker colors and more detail as I go. Some of the branches of that little tree there. I don't know my trees real well. I think it might have been a crepe myrtle. You might notice over on the far right side there's the American flag there, and there was a flag that I believe must belong to the church that's there. Underneath it, it was white with like a blue symbol on it. Make that grass a little bit more vibrant. At this point in the painting, I'm trying to make shadows darker and the grass brighter so that you really notice the contrast between that roof and the cast shadows. telephone pole in there. I always like putting the telephone poles and telephone lines and stuff, or power lines in there. I feel that they give a nice contrast to the more organic shapes you find in the grass and trees. They also, the linear aspect of them gives good contrast to the big shapes of the buildings. Now that I've finished the watercolor, I'm going through with pen and just kind of highlighting some things and bringing some things out, kind of creating a little bit more focus. Draw attention where we want it. One of the things I left out in the video is afterwards I came back and put the little yellow lines through the middle of the road. But this turned out to be a nice little piece. Hope y'all enjoyed watching it. If you like more videos like this, let me know. Or if you like the longer ones, let me know. Hope you have a good day.